makeup, so this is raw, unfiltered. Hey y'all, I am Shelby, the Fit Foodie Farmer, probably looking all kinds of haggard right now, but it is what it is. We've been out in the hayfield for like a week now, so my allergies are acting up. No makeup, so this is raw, unfiltered. But I wanted to get on here today because I'm fixing to plant some interesting tomatoes, and I'll tell you why in just a second, but I wanted to show y'all this first. So this is what happens when I miss coming out for like 1 or 2 days. That's it. And this zucchini, both these zucchinis got like huge. So tip, make sure you check your zucchini plants every day because they grow super duper fast. But I've got my first little cucumber harvest this morning, so I'm pretty excited about that. I've got some whites and some greens planted that they're already starting to come on. A new variety that I tried was the Armenian yard long. None of those have done good for me. I've got, I think, 2 planted at the house that just, I don't know if the bugs got to them or what, but they were just annihilated and just died. Maybe I was a bad plant mom and didn't water, but in any case, I re-sowed, so hopefully it's supposed to rain later on this evening, so maybe we'll get some luck then, I don't know. But I'm looking at my cattle panel, and I'll try to turn y'all around. I'm looking at my cattle panel tomato trellis right over here, and I'm not got a whole lot of room left on it. And I've got quite a few tomato plants that I need to put in the ground today, but I wanted to show you these interesting little guys right here. So I am a heavy pruner when it comes to my tomato plants, and I can take you in and show you. I'm up here at the barn, I'm not at the house right now, but I only like to have 1 leader coming up on my tomato plants. I do not like a big bushy tomato plant that I can't see where I'm putting my hands. And last year I started heavy pruning for the first time last year, and I used a cattle panel trellis and I loved it. So that's the way I'm probably going to trellis, and I say that, and of course I didn't use a cattle panel at my house this year. I just used T-posts to tie them to, so I know I say that that's my method of choice, and it is, but I just did not for various reasons at the house this year. But these are actually from my house because I let those go, and they had 2, maybe even 3 leaders coming up out of the ground, and leaders are just the stem here, like this main stem. So what I did was I just clipped these off, if you can see that. I clipped them off. Sometimes I just pull them off. I don't suggest that, but I just snipped them off of the tomato plant, and I just put all of these guys in a bucket of water. And as you can see, if you can see that, they already had blooms on them when I plucked them off. So this may kind of set them back a little bit, and if so, it does. But I am not one to compost easily stuff that can make new fruit. So I just stuck all of these in a bucket of water, and you can see what happened. They started forming roots just from being plucked off of their original vine and put in a bucket of water. So you can do this with the suckers of a plant, and I'll show you in just a second what a sucker is and how I prune those off. But even if you took a big leader like this and put it in a bucket of water, it's going to grow roots. So I am going to try to put these directly in the ground. It's kind of overcast morning. I don't think it's going to get too hot today. Don't do this like in the middle of the day. Do it early in the morning, later in the evening, or on an overcast day, because you don't want to shock them too much. And these may not do at all. I don't know. I just figured I'd see how they would do. But I've got quite a few here, and they're all producing little roots. So I've kind of tried to prune these a little bit, like the suckers and everything, and then I'm going to try to plant these in the ground. And some that I got from the tomatoes here at the barn, they have also started growing roots. Now, this is kind of a good example right here, and the last one was too. When people tell you to plant your tomatoes deep, look how far up the stem those roots go. So if I was to just pluck that off and plant like up to here, all of these, I don't know if you can see that, but all of these little nodules here are going to form roots. So when you stick it that far into the ground, that root system is going to be really, really strong. So that's why people normally will tell you to plant your tomatoes pretty deep. So that's what I try to do. Doesn't always work. If you don't plant them super deep, chances are they'll still survive. One thing that I've learned about tomato plants is they are pretty resilient, which is one reason why I really love growing tomatoes. But these here I got from a sweet, sweet friend, and they are super duper big. Like, I am very surprised for a tomato plant to be in these little, I guess these are 4-inch pots, I believe, to be like that tall. It's almost half of my body. So I was very impressed with her growing abilities, and I think I'm going to try to plant these as well. But I seen some suckers on these, and I didn't pluck them off quite yet just because I wanted to be able to show you guys. So I think what I might do is I'll show you like this, but then I'll turn the camera around so you can get like a closer view of it. But typically what I will do is all of the lower little baby stems, I'll just pluck those off. But if you see right here, there is a little stem in this little armpit here that's starting to grow. This right here is a sucker, and there's an even bigger one right here. Let's see if I can just put this down. So you see this armpit right here, and in the middle, that is a sucker. Now, I always pluck these little suckers off, because if you don't, that plant puts the majority of its energy into growing these new little sucker stems instead of producing fruit. So if you take those suckers off, it forces the energy to go into the stems that are already there and the leaves that are already there and produce fruit instead of bushing out more and producing more leaves and stems. So I don't want my tomato plants too bushy. I want my tomato plants to be full of fruit. So that is why I will typically do a heavy prune, plus making sure that I get all of my suckers off. So again, I'll show you like this. I take all the little baby roots, or all the little baby stems, they're kind of turning yellow, and then I will just take those off. This one looks pretty good. I don't really see any suckers starting to form, so that one's good. I'm gonna put him down. And then I'll turn you around and show you what it looks like, and then I'll tell you what you can do with those suckers. Okay, so here is going to be a good example of a suckered plant. So again, I'm going to take all of the little leaves here, or stems here, off, and then right here you can see you've got your main leader, and then you've got a stem coming off. And this armpit here, right here, you can see this little guy that we're just going to pinch off, and that is your sucker. And you can see we've got another one here. It's in the armpit. You got your main leader stem, and it's coming up in the armpit of it, so just pluck it off. And there's another little one right here. Gonna go ahead and pluck him. Another one right there, go ahead and pluck him. And there's another one right there that I'm just gonna pinch off. So I usually will just take these little ones, and honestly I probably just will throw it on the ground, but you can compost that as well, as long as it's a healthy plant. But if it's a very large sucker, which I've had some that have kind of got away from me, I'm seeing if I can find one that's kind of large. Okay, so if you look right here, you got your main leader, you got a stem, and you've got a sucker right here. So if I pinch this guy off, that's a fairly large sucker right there. Now, if they get too big, you might want to get you some snips instead of just pinching them off with your finger. I sometimes don't do that. I just pinch them off, and sometimes that will like run a strip all the way down the leader, which is probably not good at all, but my tomatoes usually thrive, so I'm not too crazy with it. But you can take this smaller one and you can do just like I did with those big huge ones. You can just put this in a glass of water, get you a mason jar or something, put it in a glass of water, and before long this little sucker will start producing roots, and you can plant this little guy right in with the rest of your tomatoes that if you started from seed. So that is a quick and easy way to get you some free tomato plants. Don't be like me though and take every sucker and try to plant them, because then you'll have too many. But that's my personal preference to do, because it's hard for me to pinch or prune and just throw that to the chickens or the pig or compost it. It breaks my heart. But you really do need to be at least pruning the suckers off of your tomato plants. You don't necessarily have to be a heavy pruner like me. If you never prune your tomatoes and you have beautiful tomatoes, hey, go for it. You don't have to do that like I do. I just like the nice, clean look of it. But that's me personally. So that's some little tomato tips and tricks you can do with your suckers. I'm going to try to find a place to plant all of these, and then I will show you the finished product. So this is the cattle panel trellis that I already had up. All of these are tomatoes that I planted at the very beginning of the season. I need to probably go through here and prune. And here's kind of my second little plant. Those are the little babies Got some holes here that I'm sure I'll fill in with something. We actually took a torch and burned in this plastic to try to keep the weeds down. Of course my camera died, so here I've laid out the cattle panels. It's really a two-person job, and I'm here by myself this morning. So here's all of the new plants that I just pruned, suckered, and planted. And remember how I told you don't plant in the middle part of the day? Well, I planted in the middle part of the day, and it's getting pretty toasty. It's supposed to rain this afternoon, so hopefully it does good. But there's you a few tomato tips. I hope that helped y'all. If y'all got any tomato tips that y'all would like to share, drop them in the comments. I'd love to know them. So until next time, like, comment, subscribe, all of the good stuff, and I will catch y'all on the next one. I hope y'all are enjoying your gardens right now and y'all are growing some beautiful things. I'm gonna go plant some flowers next, so I'll see y'all. Bye.